Hi everybody, DJ Yokley with another epic announcement here at the network. We're here at YSN HQ, and I'm joined by the newest and most veteran person here, a guy that I have looked up to since I was 16 years old working at Cumulus Media, and I'll tell you what, I couldn't be more excited. A hero in his own right, a hero to me, a role model. We now are happy to announce at YSN that Mr. John Batcho, Mr. Sports, is here and is on the team at YSN. Welcome, my friend.
I am so glad to be here, DJ. You know, I've watched what you've been doing. I've been monitoring you, and the sky's the limit for you. I love how you talk. Yeah, you're like a football coach. My current employer, Greg Greenwood at Greenwood Chevrolet, very similar. You guys have a lot of similar threads. So I love that stuff. I grew up, you know, my dad was a football coach on that inspirational talk. That's exactly what you guys do.
Well, I appreciate that. I'm going to take you back real quick. Excuse me, I'm going to take you back to I was 16 years old, 4040 Simon Road, just a puppy, and I roll in, scared of everybody. Everybody's a superstar, right, when you're that young, and a young Mr. Sports, I run into you in the hallway, and you and I start having a conversation, and at the end of the conversation, you gave me the advice of, I don't care what you do, young man, just always be yourself. That has stuck with me, now 35 years old, through all these years, and when we sat down, it all came back. All the feelings came rushing back of my childhood hero, the guy that I wanted to be Mr. Sports because I love sports so much. Now I'm sitting here with you because of that advice many years ago, just being yourself. That's why we're here, because we are different than everybody else. It's a different dialogue. And now you're with us because you're different, you've stayed yourself, and we can appreciate that. What do people have to look forward to here in the next few weeks with a new show and some new opportunities for Mr. Sports?
Well, with the show, we're going to have plenty of guests lined up. It's going to be a very different concept. What I love about it is it's wide open. You and I have discussed this. There is no Vindicator. We don't have a local newspaper anymore.
Correct.
We don't have a local radio station to take care of sports anymore. We fill that void, and we're going to do it with professional people. Potesta and I, we're going to kill this thing. I just know it. And Todd Thorne, the opportunities are just amazing. And the opportunity to do 3 shows per week and then do high school football, the game of the week, on Fridays with Todd Thorne is going to be sensational. Plus, all the other play-by-play activities that I'm going to be taking care of as well. I'm excited about it. A lot of experience on this end, and I'm looking forward to showing that off for you.
And it's a perfect segue because we're excited about your experience because you're going to bring some of that and kind of educate our announcers now. You're going to be able to rub off some of your talent, your experience to them, and kind of be the high tide that raises all boats. We're excited about that, but working with the next generation of broadcasters, is that something that really kind of invigorates you and rejuvenates you?
You know, it's funny, DJ, I look back on my career, which does span over 30 years now, and how many young people that I've helped out that are succeeding in the business. Most recently, Joshua Fitch at WFMJ. I was doing a little cable show for a while, introduced Joshua, brought him aboard as a co-host, met Dana Bawley. She's working for TV21 now. Bob Gavalier's another one, Vince Pellegrini Jr., Lou Bajak, who did Scrappers Baseball with me during the inaugural campaign in 1999. These guys all went into prominent roles in the sports media, so I love doing that. I love helping out young guys. I'm sure there's many names that I've left out, but even Ron Potesta and I worked together a football game many, many years ago, although Ron had been doing it for a while himself at that time.
I think the most exciting thing for me to have you aboard is the fact that you've always been about the kids. You've always been about the content. Your ego is always pushed to the side, and I think that's exciting because in an ego-driven business like we're in, it's an opportunity. We're different. We've said it before. It's never about us, always about the kids. You being able to interview a superstar or even, you know, somebody that's not a superstar and getting their 5 minutes of fame, their 10 minutes of fame, what kind of opportunities does that have down the line for youngsters to be able to sit there and say, I know Mr. Sports, you know, man-to-man, person-to-person. What does that do for you?
Can I share a story with you?
Absolutely.
This was probably 20-something years ago. I had a lady that I did this for, but it was a couple years ago, but the event goes back some 20 years ago or so. Gives me a napkin. Says, my son went on to a successful life in broadcasting, and this is a signed napkin from you, because it's all we had at the time. He kept this and framed it by his bed and used it as an inspiration. And when you hear stories like that, it's just astounding. It amazes you that you can do that. And you talk about young kids and getting the opportunity to be interviewed. To them at that age, it means everything.
Right.
And they do remember that. And they do remember who was there, whether it's a Mr. Sports or Ron Potesta or DJ Yokley. Man, those guys talked to me. I wasn't anything at that time, but look at what I've ascended to. And that was the beginning of it. I mean, it's a big thing to the kids at that time.
I think the thing, again, I'm so excited about this. It's almost surreal. I wake up and try to pinch myself that this is actually happening with you and Ron, and just the way that YSN has been accepted here in the Valley. But the reality is yes, you're going to have a show. Yes, you're going to be doing some stuff for YSN behind the scenes. But the reality is people are going to be really comfortable with your voice, because you're going to be doing a lot of play-by-play for us in the baseball realm, and the basketball realm, and in the football realm, as you alluded to, back on the air, and really giving your heart and soul back to the village, quote unquote, that raised you. So, what is that like for you to come full circle?
It's an amazing experience. I appreciate the opportunity. I mean, the jobs in the radio industry, at least in terrestrial radio, have dried up. And one thing I do want to make note of while we're here, none of this is possible without my great friend and my boss, Greg Greenwood.
Absolutely.
Because I met with Greg. We had a lengthy meeting, and we are going to work around this. And nothing really is going to be altered at my workplace at Greenwood Chevrolet. I'll continue to sell cars. I'll continue to strive for mark of excellence. My goals haven't changed one bit. I'm going to be getting a little help there, because I'm going to be prioritizing a lot of my duties with you. But he was very accommodating and very supportive, much like I expected him to be, probably even more so. But Greg's just a super person, and hopefully we'll have him aboard here with YSN at some point too.
And I can't wait to officially meet Greg. I've heard so much about him, and he's such a great man in the community, gives so much back to the area, and he's one of those guys that, as I look to you as a broadcaster when I was 16 years old, it's guys like Greg that I look to now as a business owner, and try to emulate him. So,
we have the meeting, he's talking about, he's a scuba diver.
Oh, good.
And he's talking about breathing apparatuses, which I found fascinating. And this is the type of things he does. And he'll talk to you in football coach language and speak. A lot of our meetings when he talks is like that. And again, it goes back to my father. That stuff fires me up.
Right.
You wait till you meet him.
I'm excited. I'm excited. So a big announcement here on the network. It is John Batcho, Mr. Sports, on your sports network. He will be all over. It'll be peppered with him. And some last comments from you, Mr. Sports?
I can't wait to get going. It's a beautiful night for baseball. Thank you, DJ, and good evening, everybody.
That's going to do it for us for now. Make sure you stay tuned to ysnlive.com for all your updates and all the great waves that we're creating here in the Sports Sea. Thanks, everybody.